Welcome to another edition of Catch a Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday morning right here to listen to what's going on up and down the Space Coast. But I tell you what, it's going to be a fantastic day. I'm Captain Jim Ross, your host of this program. For those of you that are listening for the first time, thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate it. For those of you that are longtime listeners and viewers out there on Facebook, good morning to you all. We appreciate you listening in and tuning in on those various types of formats that you can watch us on. And remember, you can always go back and watch the shows on CaptainJimRoss.com on YouTube. There's a bunch of the shows that are being put up there. And, of course, the weekly shows go up every Monday. So we appreciate you guys and gals checking that out. Right now, we've got to let you know this segment of the show is brought to you by Blue Points Marina out at Port Canaveral. We appreciate those guys out there. And if you want to give us a call here on our call-in line in Cocoa at 321-632-1000. That's 321-632-1000. My special guest this morning, it's the one and only, I think, is the way to say it. The one and only Tino Villaverde. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, America, and thank you for having me, Jim. I appreciate you.
Man, you're all decked up. You got your Hoyt archery stuff on. You have been a Hoyt archery guy since we had even met, but way before then when I saw, just the first time I ever saw you. You've been a solid Hoyt supporter of their bows and their products. And, you sell them in your shop, All About Archery down on Aurora Road in Melbourne. And so, there's a lot of good bows out there. You got Bowtech, you got Matthews, there's some other little sleepers off to the side here and there. What makes Tino say Hoyt is the product for me? What is it?
Exactly. Well, thank you for the question. Actually, being that it is a loaded question, I have been, since I remember 9 years old, tinkering with bows, but really got serious about it in mid-20s.
Okay.
In my mid-20s. And I had to figure out a lot, like many people have, I'm sure, on my own. Learning what the whole engineering of the product is about, making the mistakes of choosing the wrong arrow spine, the wrong arrow length. But then again, the whole industry went through a lot of that. Mm-hmm. They used to use overdraws. I don't know if you ever saw a bow with an overdraw. The arrow, once you're at full draw, is actually behind your hand. But we were trying to gain speed the wrong way. But engineering has come a long way.
Well, and before you go any farther, now your background, you went to FIT, right down here in Melbourne. And
I went to the Language Institute there and then Brevard Community College as well.
And so what is your background? Because you seem like a very, very technically oriented guy, like an engineer, or that's what I've never even asked you.
Drafting, illustration.
So there we go.
I worked for engineers for years.
Everything has to be very finite. Everything has to be very precise in Tino's world.
Yeah,
it's got to be just so details. Exactly.
Detail is something I'm prone to look for, and the detail sometimes, to me, my eye catches detail right quick. You mentioned before we started that maybe we should talk a little bit about releases. Well, I want to talk about the whole product line that we actually carry. It all started because of my hobby. And it started as a hobby that turned into a business. But at the end of the day, because of the many years of doing what I've been doing, I filter out the companies, the products to where I carry, in my opinion, the most quality there is available in the country.
Top of the line products.
American made, American engineers that are impressive. And I've been to the factory, the Hoyt factory. You were talking about the bow itself.
Yeah.
There's other products I like to tell you about, but the Hoyt itself. Hoyt's owned by Craig Easton. His family, I think it's like third generation into the sport.
Okay.
They created Hoyt Easton is known throughout the world, not just for archery, but baseball, hiking, mountain hiking, camping, you name it. All kind military uses their products. It is a wonderful, wonderful company, and they have, I want to call it a set of morals and a set of engineering quality minded individuals to where they won't throw all their money on marketing,
Right.
and leave the engineering behind. They just won't do that. They haven't, and I can observe that from all the comparisons, because all the boats go through my shop. People bring boats of all brands for us to work on, and that's the best place for us. We take them apart.
Yeah.
We have to fix things. We have to change strings.
Yeah, I've
Cams.
personally talked to quite a few guys who shoot other products, and they're like, "Hey, man, I need to get my bow tuned up." And one of the things that you've really stressed to me over the years, and that I've really taken to heart, is you need to have your bow looked at every single year to make sure everything is precise, the timing's correct, there's no frays in the strings, there's no cracks in the limbs. All of these, the cam's not leaning, all of these things that could potentially become problems. And so guys take their Bowtex, their Bear Archery, their Matthews, or whatever, and they bring them to you. And you guys at All About Archery, every one of those products intimately and how to properly tune other companies' products as well. And,
Yes,
and,
some more than others, but
and
yes.
Some of the guys I've talked to are like, man, I took my Bear down there, I took my Hoyt down there, I took my Matthews down there, or whatever, and man, they got me tuned up, and I'm shooting better than ever. So it's not just the quality products you're selling, but you're a quality service center
that is a
that
big
can
thing
dial
we do. Yeah.
them in, and so
Yes, there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
There's a reason for that. The reason for that is I love the sport. Just like as passionate as you are as you're fishing, and you're involved with programs that will help the lagoon. You're
Yes.
involved with programs that help you keep your bow in perfect shape. You talk about details that even when I listen to you talk about your bow, how you clean it, what you're looking for, what materials the bow has. Well, I know that you're looking at detail on the manufacturing of your bow, your engines. I look at my archery the same, and what I want is for my clients to be successful.
yes,
So when I sell a bow, I will spend an average of an hour per person, whether they know or they don't know, and some that think they know. And at the end of the day, they will be successful. They get out of there happy.
Yeah.
They will enjoy that product. And they won't just, oh my God, I can't figure it out. And they just put it down because no one really took the time to teach them
yeah,
how
and then
to do
they
it
just get frustrated and give up.
and give up.
Yeah.
Because it is not their job to know all these little details that make up this industry or these products. We know them, and if I can take the time to teach them about it, it'll make sense to them to the point to where, hey, wait a minute. I've had individuals that first time I'm going to do archery, I've been hunting with a gun forever, and then take him out and have them sighting, help them sight in a boat. Mind you, somebody that never shot a bow and shoot to 40 yards. And they go, wow, I had no idea I can be this accurate at 40 yards.
Yeah.
This is a lethal weapon.
Yeah.
And they're surprised. But if you do that, they'll be happy. It's good for business. They'll come back.
Yeah.
Because really, there's not much competition when it comes to that.
Well, let's. I guess sounds like we got a phone call here. Don't mean to interrupt you, but let's see what Mike Mann's doing this morning. It sounds like you got a hot bite going on this morning, Mike. Or are you just getting ready to launch?
I've already launched the boat, and it's a madhouse here. I'm heading offshore. Figured I'd call in and do the report before I got out of cell phone range.
I hear you.
Yeah.
What's the game plan for today?
Today, I think we're going offshore. We're gonna, there's gonna be everybody and their brother's probably gonna be running the beach looking for those big manta rays. I think we're going to run out and do some mangrove and lane snapper fishing.
Gotcha.
which has been very, very good these last 2 weeks. I mean, just incredible limiting out on lane snapper with, average size being about 18 inches. It's been great. It's been a great bite.
Well, the guys that ran out of Canaveral yesterday, there were some cobia found. There were quite a few rays found. So the last 2 days, actually, and even some of the guys still straggling behind out of Sebastian are still finding some. But yeah, it looks like they're headed your way. So I would say that if you get a chance, come back in, make a big sweep down to the south, and kind of come back in and keep your eyes peeled as you're coming back to the inlet.
Yeah, there's definitely been some guys. What we've been having here is cobia have been popping up around, 1 to 3 o'clock is when it seems like been the prime time for finding the cobia.
Yep.
And the rays, and I plan to be off the water by that time, but that's what we've been finding this week, is everybody I've talked to has been finding them between 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and they've been finding them in like 8 foot of water. They were up shallow, real shallow. So, guys, if you're running the beaches, be careful, because there's spring break, and it's going to be a warm day. There's going to be a lot of people in the water, so watch where you're running. Yeah,
be careful. Be careful.
But the inshore bite's still been good. Caught lots of black drum. Lots of black drum. Been catching nice mangrove snapper inshore too. Got a few redfish as well. And I'm expecting, it looks like we've got another cold front coming on, I think, Tuesday or Monday night.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
I'm not real excited about it, but because the bite has been fantastic.
Yeah, with the new moon, we've had a really great bite, and it's going to shock things back a little bit, but we'll see what happens. What I'd like to see is, if it's going to get cold, get real cold.
Yeah.
Not cold enough to kill anything, but cold enough to get real cold. Because we're already starting to see algae blooms in the lagoon, or I wouldn't say an algae bloom, but the water's starting to dirty up already. I noticed yesterday I was back in the lagoon, and the water's starting to get kind of that tingy green color to it.
Well, that's not good. We don't want to hear that.
No, I didn't want to spread that word, but yeah, it's starting to get it. So
Mike, real quick before we go to break, lane snapper, mangrove snapper. What's the hot bite right now? Are you catching them on shrimp? Are you catching them on squid? You catching them on cut baits? What are they hitting right now?
I am catching them on a combo bait. I'm catching them on a little piece of shrimp on the hook first. Then we've got some squid. I get some squid bites, and I'm doing a little sliver of that to kind of hold the shrimp into place, and dropping it down on just a chicken rig, and that's what's been working real well. And a lot of grunts. If you're getting nothing but grunts, move over a little bit.
Yeah.
Once you get out of the grunts, you start getting into snappers. And talked to Drew Kavanaugh. He was catching some big. Also got a few grouper, a couple gag groupers. Got a couple of trigger fish as well.
Good deal. Now, you fishing 60 to 90 feet of water, or are you running deeper?
That's correct. Yep. Nope. 60 to 90 foot.
Okay. And artificial or live bottom?
Artificial.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Artificial. Been hitting the structure stuff has not been as good. When I say structure, I mean like the boats and the barges stuff has not been as well as the culverts and the
rubble
concrete
piles. Yeah, rubble piles have been doing really good. Well, good deal, buddy.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, we're up against our break. How does somebody get a hold of you?
I've got days open coming up in April. You can give me a call at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com. Follow me on Instagram, CAPT Mike Mann with 2 N's, and on Facebook, Fat Fish Guide Service. Guys, get out there, have a safe weekend, and catch them up.
All right, buddy. Appreciate the call this morning. Good luck and be safe out there.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care, buddy. All righty, we're going to take our break. Looks like we've got another caller calling in. We're going to take our break, though. When we come back, we got a whole lot more with Tino Villaverde and myself, Jim Ross. So don't go away. Catch Your Memories coming right back at you. Tino Villaverde is in the studio with me, Captain Jim Ross. We got Captain Matt Lee on the line, but we want to let you know you got to get yourself some lamb deck. I had 4 guys out yesterday. Some of the guys that work for NASCAR, and they had a big speed week, bike week, all of that kind of stuff going on, and they were ready for some downtime, and we got some great fishing done. Almost every single one of those guys already has their own boat. okay? And every single one of them said, man, this stuff is great. I got to get some of this Lamb Deck on my boat too. So hopefully Tom and Jaden and the guys up at Lamb Deck will start to see some boats come rolling in there. Not that they don't already have them loaded up in there, but anyway, long story short, when you fish on a boat that has Lamb Deck on it, after you fished on a boat that doesn't, you're like, okay, well, we need to make some changes here. So check them out. Give them a call, 321-505-4888. That's Lamb Deck in Titusville, 321-505-4888. You can check them out at lambdeck.com as well and see a bunch of different designs that they've done for different boats. We're going to roll to the phone lines here. We got Captain Matt Lee calling in. Good morning, Matt. Doing good, buddy. How are you doing? Gotcha. I tell you what, the last 2 days has been really good. The morning bite has just been incredible with that major coming on right there at sunrise. What are you seeing out there on the lagoon right now? Gotcha. I spoke with you a little while ago, and you were fishing some areas where you were actually throwing shallow areas, but you were throwing popping cork and a shrimp. Is that still sort of a technique that you're working at this time of the year, or are you going with something a little more subtle? Nice. It won't be long. I saw my first white butterfly the other day, so it won't be long before. Did you yesterday? Yep. It's time, man. Spring is sprung, if you know what I mean. Topwater time. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Then that shortly follows. That's for sure. Well, buddy, we were gonna let you get out there and start catching some fish. Appreciate the call this morning. Do you have any time available to try and get some guys out? Awesome. Yes, you will. Looking forward to it. All righty, Captain Matt Lee, one of the best in the Mosquito Lagoon. Y'all give him a call and go check him out. Appreciate the call this
Thanks,
morning,
sir.
Matt.
Yes, sir. Good morning, and I hope y'all have a good day.
All righty. Bye-bye now. Hey, you know what? We were talking a little bit about the engineering that goes into Hoyt, and I was thinking during the break, Tino, that Hoyt came out with a carbon bow.
A true carbon bow to begin with.
Not an aluminum riser bow with fiberglass.
Right.
A full carbon, I guess you call it, what do you call it, the frame of the bow?
The riser.
The riser. would
The
be
riser
The
of the bow.
main portion that you hold on to.
Basically your truss, your structure.
So they came out with a carbon bow quite a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Then they advanced it. Then they advanced it.
2007, 2006, they
Then
were
they
ready on
advanced
it.
it again. And then, like I have,
Mm-hmm.
in the Redworks series, I have a Redworks 5 that I got from you.
Mm-hmm.
They've since come out with a 7, and now they've even come out with an 8. So that relentless pursuit to engineer and re-engineer and improve
There you go.
is I mean, that's at the forefront of what companies like this do.
Yeah, and I really, to be honest, in my opinion, Hoyt and Easton are second to none. And yeah, there are others, but I guarantee you they depend a bit more on marketing. This company has never, ever, since I've been, I spent 5 days at the factory.
Yeah.
They designed the whole building specifically to hold machines that they designed to produce these bows. Everyone in that company, from the president down to the janitor, shoots a bow. I'm not kidding. Whether it is for target or hunting, but they're passionate about it, and it shows.
Yeah.
It shows. I can talk to the president. I can talk to the marketing department. I can talk to the account. They are all into it. It makes a big, big difference when marketing doesn't have all the power.
Right.
Engineering does not bow down to marketing.
Yeah.
I can't say that for many others, and I know this from being in the industry many, many years. I know some of those bows out there that are third and second in line. Some of the ownership, some of the presidents, some of the CEOs don't even shoot a bow.
Don't even shoot.
So, and we won't mention any names, but I know that's a fact. Here, I don't know if you're aware of, but Easton, Hoyt, they're sister companies.
Right.
Greg Easton owns both of them, and they are a block apart. The manufacturing of Easton arrows, the manufacturing of Hoyt bows are a block apart. You can walk from one to the other. Those places were designed. It is so impressive going in there. Just say the Hoyt factory that has a balcony around the whole production. You can look at every station, everything that is going on from the beginning of the manufacturing of the boat to the end. CNC machines, deep in tanks, everything. And then there are some rooms that are specifically put away for a reason where they will cycle a bow 1,000,000 times. They'll put it on a machine and will draw that bow 1,000,000 times until stuff comes apart. They'll have cameras. They'll have infrareds. They know what's getting hot, what's moving, what's not, what's going to come apart. And that's the relentless part that improves these bows every year. I know there's a lot of people.
That's interesting because you mentioned thermal imaging.
Thermal imaging, slow motion cameras.
Because heat is friction.
That's correct.
Friction creates failure.
That's right.
So they're looking
at everything.
At every single thing.
And sometimes you improve something, which sometimes has a cause and effect. Mm-hmm. So even though you improve something, you might have altered something that you were not thinking of. They can look at that. Gotcha. There is another machine they have in another room. They will dry fire those bows 1,500 times. Don't do it, folks.
Not recommended.
Don't do it. It's not recommended. But they know. Look, this is something that we see in the shop. Bows come in the shop that have been dry fire of all brands. And I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that Hoyt will stand that more than any bow in the market. Yeah. Second to none.
So, dry firing, for those that may not be up to speed on what that is, that's pulling the string back and letting it go.
Without an arrow.
Without an arrow in it. Without something
to absorb the energy.
Yeah, for the string to actually push.
Right.
And like you say, and absorb the energy. What happens when you dry fire a bow? What are some of the potential problems?
That's another loaded question.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Well, just like I said, there is nothing to absorb all that energy.
Yeah.
A compound bow, you draw the bow back, and now you have all this energy stored. By the way, today, at 80% let off, you don't think you're holding much. But if your bow is a 70-pound bow or 60-pound bow, when you let go, something has to absorb some of that energy. Yeah. If it doesn't, even though there's a string suppressor in it and other things in there, not to mention that they have never skeletonized their cams to be able to put up with that and yet not sacrificing speed, all by virtue of engineering, rather than let's just make it lighter so it'll be faster.
Yeah.
It's not that simple. So yes, they look at it very intimately to where really makes it. If you don't have that arrow, yes, that energy may go in places that you don't desire. Could be yourself, that you're putting yourself in danger. It can be the peep that gets launched out of there. It's like shooting a 22. Yeah. If that peep hits you, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
That much kinetic energy that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So that is meant to be shot, an arrow to be shot through it. That's what's going to absorb that. And that is why when we get really specific about the spine and the way of the arrow. When they give you the speed of a bow, it is calculated on a 30-inch draw, 70 pounds, with a 350 grain arrow. That is the lightest arrow that should be put on that bow. I don't recommend it.
Right.
But that is how they achieved that number at 28 inches. Should have said 28, not 30. So anyhow, at the end of the day, you and I, we're shooting 60 pounds. Our arrow doesn't weigh less than 435, 440, or somewhere in that neighborhood. So, though IBO is one thing, the actual speed we use is going to be a little slower, and yet fast enough that nothing is going to be able to reel. At 30, 40 yards, it will be a blink and it's there.
Yeah, it is an impressive. It's impressive watching the arrow in flight and how quickly it hits
there.
The target. It's there like that. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we've got a whole lot more, so don't go away. We're going to be back with more Catch Your Memory after this. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by Sun State Pest Management. If you're looking for a place to call home, if you will, and take care of your home, call Sun State Pest Management. Those guys can come out monthly if you need them to, bi-monthly, quarterly, whatever you need. Sun State Pest Management is there to take care of your pest problems. These guys have been in business for a long time. They've been doing it right for a long time. They put exactly the type of product that you need in exactly the places you need it. Not just spraying around willy-nilly, keeping chemicals in your house, in your garage, in your shed that your dog, cat, kids might get into accidentally. So they do a professional job. Make sure that you're calling a professional to take care of your pest management needs. And that's what Sun State Pest Management is. It's real easy to get a hold of them. 800-783-7378. That's 800-781-7378. That's 800-781-7378. Steve Goff and the guys over there, Chad, my personal guy that comes and technician that comes out and does my house, loves to fish. We spend 15 minutes or so talking about fishing as we're kind of walking around, checking out what needs to be checked out at the house there. But I tell you what, the ants are starting to pop up out from under the concrete right now. Those little black ants are just showing up everywhere. Don't let them get in your house. Call Sun State Pest Management. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. I want to say good morning to those guys and gals out there on Facebook that are listening in this morning. Looks like we got a pretty good crew this morning. Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in, even as far away as Pennsylvania this morning. Hopefully, it is the first day of the spring turkey season here in central east section of the state of Florida. Hopefully, some of you guys and gals are sitting in a ground blind or leaned up against a palm tree or something, overlooking a clearing that's got your decoy set out there in the middle of that clearing, and hopefully that big Tom comes walking in for you today.
No doubt.
Yep. And just don't do like some of those guys do. If you hear somebody calling, don't go to them. Don't do that.
Please.
Unfortunately, on public ground, sometimes people get a little confused, and Toms don't cluck, Toms don't yelp, Toms gobble. If you hear yelping, you hear clucking, you hear something like that, is another hunter. That is not.
Chances are
that is not a Tom. So go find another direction to go in. I know, Tino, you have hunted Bull Creek a lot. I know you've had somebody has had to have walked up on you while you were calling, or returned a call to you.
Oh, yeah. You keep throwing these loaded questions and comments. I better not go there because, yes, I cut my teeth in Bull Creek. I kill a lot of animals in there, or harvest.
Harvest, yeah.
And yes, you encounter, but if you put your work, I bet you I can go Bull Creek today and still be successful.
Yeah.
Because if you spend enough time, you learn the place a little bit, you will know where to go and how to get away. For many, I can tell you, for 25 years, I might have had where I deer hunt, I might have seen 4 or 5 guys
That's good.
walk by mistake.
Yeah.
They only 1 or 2 knew where they were going, and most of the others like, where did I go?
Where
They had
am
no
I?
idea. Unfortunately, it gets very competitive, and at the time, I'm like, not even letting them know I'm there.
Yeah.
Let them go and go on. And that's just what happened.
And then watch the big buck walk in behind him going, I'm following that guy because as long as I
you
can keep an eye on
You can be kidding all you want to, but that is a fact. It is happening.
as long as I know where that guy is and I can keep an eye on him.
There's something
and he
I like
doesn't,
to-
and he doesn't know that I'm
Oh,
here,
that's
then
right.
he can't shoot me.
That's right. But it's something I like to tell every Florida hunter, which we have good hunters here in Florida. If you learn to hunt deer in Florida, especially in public land, the rest of the country is a walk in the park.
Yep. Yeah.
And I don't.
We do have some smart
I
deer.
go to the West. I go to the Midwest a bunch now. Ever since you want to go for that big buck and that big deer, but it is a lot easier to find them.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. I take a week, and in a week, I will figure out where they're moving. Cornfields, soybeans, strip of woods.
Yep.
Where all you got to do is
Bedding
find
area,
that trail.
yeah, find the bedding area, find the food source, find
And a
the
trail.
and find the corridor between the two.
Yeah, and you find the tracks on the ground. Do not ignore them.
Yeah.
I tell everybody that hunts here, just don't ignore the sign.
Hey, keep your eyes open.
Yes.
Yep, always keep your eyes open. That's the truth. I've been told that myself as well, multiple times by some very good hunters, that if you learn to find those signs and you learn to read the piece of property that you're trying to set yourself up on to be successful, where should I set a ground blind? Where should I put a climber or a lock on? Where should I put a ladder stand? Whatever it happens to be. Wind direction
Absolutely.
is critical
And it will
in your
change.
setup.
It'll change at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. It will change. So count on that as well.
Critical in your setup. So you have to make sure that your setup doesn't alert that animal in any way. But like you say, if you learn to hunt and be a successful hunter here in Florida,
Yeah.
pretty much anywhere else is, like you say, a walk in the park.
It is a walk in the park, in my opinion. I mean, that's the way it's
Well,
worked out for me.
we used to say that about Mosquito Lagoon redfish. Mosquito Lagoon redfish back in the 80s and 90s were dumb as a stick.
Yes.
I'm talking dumb.
That's when I used to love fishing.
Yeah. I mean,
I spent a little time up in
you needed
in the
two
river.
things. You needed a topwater plug or a gold spoon. And
That's
if
it.
That was it. And
Yeah.
they ate it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the 2000s, especially when the tournaments started happening, real heavy redfish tournaments and heavy redfish action, 2003, 4, 5. We went from just the dumbest animals around to these guys have got a PhD now.
Yeah.
Mosquito Lagoon redfish were the smartest of the smartest because they had to elude technical poling skiffs with guys with braided line that could throw 100 feet and never, they wouldn't even know that the boat was even in the same zip code
Right.
with them,
Right.
with an angler on it,
Right.
And so our fish became extremely intelligent. And so when I'd go fish the Keys, Punta Gorda, Jacksonville, South Carolina, Louisiana, forget Louisiana. They're still retarded out there. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying these fish are dumb in Louisiana. I've seen redfish in Louisiana strike a styrofoam coffee cup that was floating around on the water surface.
Yeah.
That's how dumb those fish are. They think it's moving, I can eat it. That's in their mindset. It's eat all the time, eat. And so when you left here and you went somewhere else and guys are like, oh man, fishing's tough. No.
Nah.
You just need to up your game. You
Yeah.
haven't been challenged enough where you live and where you fish. You haven't been challenged enough because when you come from where I come from,
Right.
razor sharp edge, brother.
That's it.
Honed to
Perfect.
a perfect edge.
I spent a few days in Venice, and absolutely, even the spearfishing was terrific.
Yeah.
Out on the oil rigs,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous.
Get those big mangroves and stuff out
Oh,
there.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Big old fish. So bow hunting here, you have really got to be on your game.
You have to know the sign,
Yeah.
and it is going to be different, and the food source, and what type of food they're eating, because you may have palmetto berries, you may have low bush oak acorns, you may have live oaks dropping, you may have the regular water oaks dropping, and they prefer some over others. And
Yeah.
if you find a live oak that is dropping and you ignore it and walk by it, go home.
Go to the store and buy some hamburger.
Yeah, if you didn't see the disturbance underneath that tree, you thought it was the squirrels, you are in trouble.
You know, one time they were eating gallberries for about a 2-week period, and I'm like, why are they eating gallberries? It's got to be the worst possible thing for them to eat, right? But for whatever reason,
Right.
they were trimming and nibbling the gallberries off the little gallberry trees,
Yeah.
and the acorns really hadn't kind of started and set in yet.
Right.
But it was a dry season, and so there wasn't a lot of green foliage. It was, everything was kind of crackly and
Right.
dry.
Yeah. That is tough.
So
that is tough.
long story short, they decided that gallberries were what they wanted to eat. Now, I do want to say that particular deer that I harvested did not taste as good as others.
It could wear, yeah, I mean, and that's a fact. Depending on that nutrition, throughout the state, we have different soil qualities.
Yeah.
Your North Florida deer have way better soil. That's why they go bigger. They grow bigger, and versus but Bull Creek, back to Bull Creek, Three Lakes, we're lucky in those public lands because we have a lot of neighbors around that feed the deer year round. They have food plots. They feed them corn all the time. Yeah. So in the deer, they don't know fences, and they go back and forth. And when they walk in, they'll be fed. They'll be well fed. Many of them. It's no problem. And that includes also the Mormon. They same thing. Because Bull Creek is surrounded by Triple Land, Mormon land, Camphor land. All those folks are spending money on feeding the deer.
Yeah.
And Bull Creek is right smack in the middle. That's why many of them try to acquire back. And if you know what to do, you need to keep that land public.
Public, yeah.
So remember.
Definitely.
Young folks coming in, to new hunters coming on, they don't take for granted that you can just go to a public land and hunt, and it's your right. It's a privilege that you have to fight for and keep fighting for.
Yeah.
They never give up.
And respect what's
Others.
there.
Yes, respect it. Don't throw trash around. Friends of Bull Creek was created, and we used to go there 3 to 4 times a year to clean up the place. And it always baffles me that we can find so much from one season to the other. And granted, it's not all hunters. There's lots of other people coming there.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that walk and hike. And,
Yes.
And even, don't they even bike through?
Yes. So, please tread lightly.
And clean up after yourself.
That's right.
Don't be a pig.
That's right.
Hey, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we're going to get back into a little more with Tino, so don't go away. We're going to be right back. If you haven't checked out the new Engel UL60, you got to check it out. I got one, and it's a absolutely incredible cooler. This cooler is the next generation, the next rendition of what an ultimate high-performance cooler can be. They re-engineered a lot of the different things with this cooler at Engel, and that UL60 is, it checks every box that you want checked. Storage capacity is there. Ice retention is there. Little features like cutting boards, dividers, drop-in baskets. handle designs, it's all there.
Right.
It's just a fantastic cooler. I cannot say enough good about it. If you guys and gals get a chance, check it out. Go to englecoolers.com. And, of course, they've got about 450 other things that you can choose from there as well. But that new UL60 is a really, really great cooler. So if you get a chance, take a look at it. It's the best $200 you're ever going to spend, I'm telling you. We're back, and guys and gals out there on Facebook, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Got a lot of guys looking in on the Facebook feed this morning. Guys and gals looking in on the Facebook feed this morning. Kind of surprised because it's gorgeous weather outside. The azaleas are blooming, and when the azaleas are blooming, it's cobia time, and the cobia are here.
Yeah.
There's no doubt they are here. So for those of you guys and gals that are trying to get out either today or tomorrow, be safe out there, be courteous out there, but yes, they are here. So it is time. You need to go. I'm going to be out there actually later today. Captain Blair Wiggins is doing some filming. So with Scott Lum, I'm going to go out and give those guys some support, do a little wide angle action because Blair asked me if I could take him. And I said, well, I can't go until after the show. So you might as well find somebody else and get out there early and start with it. So he's out there. I'm going to be out there today, so maybe I'll come home with a little cobia fillet for myself. You never know. I'm going to bring a rod just in case.
Just in case.
Well, Tino, we were talking about Hoyt's bows and how they're constantly re-engineering, improving upon the engineering that they've already done. And like you say, it is a relentless pursuit.
It is.
It's not just a passion or, hey, let's make a quick buck. It's we want to build one of the best products ever made.
Yes.
And how do we do that? And so with, like you were saying, with all of
having
those,
the proper manufacturing, happen to have the proper personnel, the proper engineers in there, a great amount of open-mindedness. I hear all the time, what they are so good. How can they improve this bow that I bought 2 years ago? Yeah. There's no way they can make it any better or any faster. Well, the speed may not be the thing they improve, but they can definitely improve it. Let me tell you just a little bit about this year's bow versus the one you have and last year's bow. Let's just start with the cams themselves.
Okay.
These cams, you already have a binary cam on yours, right?
On the RX5.
The RX5 doesn't have the yoke.
Mm-hmm.
So binary cams. This year, this cam is adjustable within 1/4 of an inch. That's the first time ever. 1/4 of an inch adjustments. Wow. It's always been 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch.
Half an inch.
So they've reduced that down to a 1/4 inch micro adjustment now. If you will.
Basically, if you are 27 3/4, you can have it.
And one thing I noticed immediately when you pick this bow up, the cam design looks different.
It is different
than the previous one.
It is different, and that's what I was getting at. Even though the RX7, I have 2 of them. I shoot both of them, and I'm in love with them. But then I grab these years, and I'm just like the rest of the public. What else can they improve on,
do? Yeah.
And let me tell you, they have. It is an easier cycle, 85% let off. Now, not only you have, let's say that you're used to and you like to hold more than just let it be at 85% let off. You can make it 80 and you can make it 75.
Really?
So
adjustable let off?
Adjustable let off. Yours got adjustable let off.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Okay.
85 to 80, I believe.
Okay. Well, there's something I didn't know. I learned about my own bow.
And God forbid I'm wrong and I'm confusing the RX5 with the RX7. But that's one of the things.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, the amount of twist on the string is so specific that the whole unit, the whole bow as a unit, performs because of every single thing they have put on the bow. I'm just going very general. The pockets are wider this year.
Okay.
The stance is definitely wider. The limb, as you can see, is very short. It's a very short limb.
Yeah.
Parallel limbs distributes all the shock
upward,
up and down. And very important these years, the cam is doing a lot of the work. That is your engine. And it is amazing, the roller guard, the integrated, you have integrated as well on yours, integrated modules that you rest, you don't have anything on the side, makes it for a very slim setup of any kind of quiver that you may like. You have a Picatinny rail as well. This particular bow right here, this is a landslide from Axel and True Ball, and it is mounted on the very front, not on the side like for years we have.
Right.
And huge advantages. Lighter, not to mention, when it comes to products, American products with good engineering, Excel and True Ball, which is the same company, second to none again. And you can compare this particular construction to others of same price. I guarantee it, if we have them next to each other, which we do, it jumps at you.
Yeah.
Releases. I don't really want to start into getting into different brands, but you can grab one of these releases from True Ball, compare it to the same price point, and I guarantee you will see the quality.
I'm a big fan of the True Ball releases. That's what I like to shoot. I've shot a couple of different ones, and I keep coming back to that one. It's the smoothest, the most precise. When you feel it release, it's very crisp. I would equate it to having a stock trigger and a stock gun, and then going with an aftermarket high performance trigger.
They have
it's
the
extremely crisp.
It is extremely crisp, but they have the best machine shop in the country when it comes to that. They used to do surgical instruments before they ever started doing archery.
Gotcha.
But and everybody in there, just about everyone in there, is passionate about archery.
So I want to back up just a little bit, because you said something about the string and the specific twist rate, the number of twists per inch in the string. That is something that I personally have experienced, that I can tell you that all strings definitely are not created equal. Okay. I had a Hoyt Alpha Max. I have a Hoyt Alpha Max. Still have it. It came with its stock Hoyt strings on it. The strings started to get worn. I'd shot it a bunch. Time for new strings. I had a local high-performance string manufacturer build me strings for my bow. The bow did not shoot nearly as well after I took the Hoyt strings off of it. I shot that for quite some time and was honestly a little frustrated at times with how the bow, because I'm like, I know I should be shooting better than this. I took it to your shop. You put new strings back on it. This is a couple of years ago now. The bow is and Hoyt strings.
Absolutely.
Built for the Hoyt bow, and the bow shoots better again.
And
so
I definitely, 100%.
And I'm not saying that the product that they built was a bad product. I'm just saying that the product that they built me, that the aftermarket built me, was not specifically designed by the company that made the bow and the string to match that particular bow.
And let me get a little more specific
really
on that.
Interesting.
Yeah, let me get a little more specific on that, because you can have the same material from the same manufacturing and a different individual making the string, different company making the string, and it'll be different. It'll act different.
Definitely. Definitely.
If you can look in here, this section right here, these are weights that are incorporated on the string to manage speed, vibration, and everything else. These are tubular. They go in there. The aftermarket ones are crimped on,
right,
just like on a recurve. And if you have a failure of any kind, God forbid you dry fire the bow, that can actually shoot right out of that string wrap. This will never happen with an original string.
So the difference for a fisherman or for an angler out there is the difference would be having an egg sinker that the line goes through the egg sinker versus a split shot that you're crimping onto the line.
Exactly. You
Same
can look
concept.
at it that way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference. And the twist has to be specific because, and the way we are able to do it, before we change the strings, if for some reason we thought, that twist doesn't look right, I'm going to put it under 100 pounds of pressure, and it has to be a certain length. That's the length that is going to bring that axle to axle back to specs.
Okay.
And if you have to do that for the cables, you have to do that for the string. If that is not done properly, people think, that can just change the string. It's not that simple. It's got to be with the right amount of twist. So those specs are within tolerance.
Gotcha.
And tolerance are small.
Yeah.
They're small.
Well, guys and gals, we're going to be back with a whole nother hour of Catch a Memory after this, so don't go away. Hour 2 is coming up right after this. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. And, of course, this segment of the show, once again, is brought to you by Blue Points Marina out at Port Canaveral. So thank you to Blue Points for being a sponsor of the show. I was just thinking that since I was moving some stuff around, I was looking at my Sun State page here, and I'm thinking to myself, no, it's not. It's not Sun State. They were sponsoring the other. This is sponsored by Blue Points Marina. So if you're looking for a really cool place to keep your boat, check them out. You're going to enjoy that place out there. They do a great job. A couple of guys. I want to say thank you to Joe Kennedy. He actually put up the link so you can check out that 60 quart ultralight Engel cooler on the Facebook feed. So that's kind of cool. So thank you so much for doing that. That is a really good cooler. I mean, it's
And reasonably priced.
yes, yeah. Most of the time when you're looking at a 60 quart cooler, you're looking at
350.
yeah, 350, 400.
Mm-hmm.
This one at 200 it's an absolute bargain, and it's still just really, really. I mean, it's probably their most technologically advanced cooler that they have to date. But with the roto molding instead of the injection molding, or vice versa, injection molding versus roto molding, it's a less expensive way to create the shell, so they can pass the savings on to the customer.
Maybe injection. I'm like you. I can't remember. I know they do that
I think
for boat cases.
I think it's the injection.
I think
molding.
injection is
Yeah.
the most common one.
Yeah, yeah, lot less expensive.
Yeah.
So Tino Villaverde is in the studio with me this morning. Captain Jim Ross, for those of you that are just joining, thank you so much. We appreciate you tuning in. We've been talking a little bit about some of the Hoyt product that Tino has at his shop, that he shoots, been shooting for years. I've been shooting for years. Really enjoy shooting the bows. You know, it's opening day of turkey season, and not everybody likes to bow hunt for turkey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most guys are shotgunning.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some specific. Well, I tell you what. Let's talk about something different. We'll talk about the new Hoyt aluminum instead of the carbon riser bow, the aluminum bow. But let's then get
The
into
Alpha X.
Let's get into some specifics about turkey hunting
Right.
with the bow, because I know you enjoy the heck out of that too.
Yeah, I've done it. It is it's very doable. I've got my techniques about it. Last year, I don't know if you recall, I brought a fan that I installed
Mounted on
my bow.
Yeah.
So all of this is covered by a fan. Turkeys get mesmerized by it. They look at it and, what is that? So they come to you.
It gives
If
you
you're in the right place,
gives you an opportunity.
it gives you an
to-
opportunity.
yeah.
However, you must take your time. If you don't think you can hit the proper place, do not shoot a turkey. Turkeys are tough. If you hit them smack middle of that chest, you're not going to find it. You kill the animal, but you won't find it.
Yeah.
It'll
He'll run.
fly off.
Yeah.
It just, it's all muscle. If they're strutting, looking away from you, perfect. Now you got that middle of that anus. Go for it. And you're going to get him right there.
The Texas heart shot, if you will.
Texas heart shot. If you do the Texas heart shot, you'll be all right. Otherwise, their vitals carry low.
Yeah.
They're low. You have to get the vitals. So, and I personally use I use mechanical. It's what I do. I know you use fixed,
Yeah.
and they all work. But mechanical will shoot farther, more accurate. You have to be 100% on for sure that you're solid. Your non-mechanical broadhead, you've shot it beyond 40 to know that it's on. You have to do that. In some do. So
Now-
I've got Exodus that tend to do that.
In talking about shot placement on a turkey, obviously vitals are a little lower than what you anticipate them to be.
Yep.
So,
Above the drum, just
so-
above the drum.
So you really should get a target that
Yes.
that has the outline of the vitals on it and practice on that type of a target
Yeah.
rather than just maybe a foam
Right. And,
A foam
on the other
turkey or
hand, you
whatever.
can also use a guillotine and
Well, that's what I was
decapitate them.
That's what I was going to ask next.
But that's
So-
an up close game.
Okay,
That
so
thing is
those-
not going to fly beyond 20 yards very well.
Okay, so the guillotine style, they have huge blades on
Huge
them, but they're
blades.
not very aerodynamic. But if
You have
hit
to
them
use
in the
a
neck,
4-inch vein on your bow, and you should have 4 if you can.
Okay.
But if you have 3, that's fine. But at least 4-inch veins on it
Stabilize
to
it.
stabilize
Okay.
that a little. You have to have more control on the rear to control those wings on the front. Because we're talking 2.5, 3 inches, and that's why I'm saying possibly really a 15 to 20 yards max. And usually you can get them closer, and they will definitely do the job. But you should practice with it
yeah.
to see what it does for you.
So in that type of a scenario, do you prefer open ground with a natural made blind, or do you prefer a ground blind if you're trying to shoot that particular style of
I
blind?
always, for turkey hunting, prefer natural blinds. I don't care, especially with a bow, I don't care to shoot from a blind. It is darker. It affects your lighting when it comes peep versus sight. Even though you can see, it changes the location of impact because the halo of your peep gets larger. And at that point, most of the time, you're going to shoot low.
Interesting.
And it's something that you have to practice. And once you remember it, that's fine. But I have a blind that I can open the roof of. So at the end of the day, turkey hunting is about being still as possible until you get that shot. And when you have a bow, you got to draw it back.
Yeah.
Drawing it back is a motion-loaded action. Turkeys, I don't think, you almost think they have eyes in the back of their head. I don't think they have more than 20 degrees that they can't see behind.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll catch you.
They're like an alligator. You can't approach them from the front or the side. You gotta come. You gotta come from behind on them almost.
Yes.
Where they know you're there.
Yeah, they know you're there. So that all being said, it's all possible. I've done it many times. But you better have good ethics and don't just take the shot because, there it is, big old brown spot or big old black spot. No, you have to really pick your shot.
Pick the feather.
Pick the feather. Otherwise, hey, don't be scared. Take the shotgun.
Yeah.
I love to take my 20 gauge out too. But I've killed so many turkeys over the years. I'm happy with one a year now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get one, boom. If I called him in and he gave me all that respond back and forth, we talked to each other and he showed up.
And he was like, "Hey, here
All
I
right,
am.
I'm
Yep.
taking you. I'm taking you. Otherwise, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this particular bow because
This is called the Alpha X, and it's their aluminum version. It has all the same features of the RX-8 and the Redworks. The cams are the same. Everything is the same. The only difference is the riser. It's aluminum. CNC machine aluminum, in which there is a difference between that one and, say, the Torex that we have. Okay. That is a forged aluminum bow. And definitely, you look at them and it's like, so what's the difference? Well, it's a lot of difference, and it's all about the details, like we talked earlier. And what are the pockets made out of? What kind of limb? The precision of the deflection on the limbs. The bow dynamic efficiency, it is tenfold when you pay the money. And that's something that somebody with experience will notice. Some people have come to my shop that have enough money to afford this kind of entryway. They never experienced what a lesser bow, so they don't know.
Right.
They already have something that performs top notch, but they don't really know how good they have it. In comparison, when were shooting in the 90s, and oh my God,
Oh,
I shoot something even from 10 years ago, from 5 years ago. I just had a carbon element
okay.
come in and shot it the other day. And I thought that was the cat's meow back then.
Yeah.
In 2010, I thought that was the cat's meow. And today I shoot it and it's like, oh my God. That's when you know all that little bit of engineering every year does accumulate. And we are now, this is probably the most changing they have done on a boat this year. This right here, especially the cams. 1/4 inch adjustability, 3 positions on let off, the smoothness of the cam. You think you're shooting, they'll put a 70-pound bow. I bet you can pick up a 70-pound bow, pull it back, and you say, this is not 70 pounds.
It doesn't. It's so smooth it doesn't feel it.
Yeah, you're not going to feel it.
Yeah.
I do because I'm weak and I got to shoot that 60-pounder. But I can pull it.
Yeah.
I can pull it. I just won't do
Some
it.
of the things that I've noticed on this particular aluminum boat, they have basically made an identical version of the Redworks Carbon series in where everything is placed, but how they go about building the riser is completely different. Obviously.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at all of the intricate. There's a lot of intricate work.
Correct.
On
And that is
this
not for looks.
particular
That is not for
aluminum
looks.
boat.
That's a trust. That has to put up with a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
The 70 pounds, 60 pounds, 50 pounds, 80 pounds. That trust has to hold. This is not for looks. Every single thing on that riser is there for a reason, and it's been engineered and studied, and it's there for a reason. All the way to the simplification of the cable guide.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just amazing how that has evolved. We used to, at one point, have them flex in and out from full draw to static. And now it is in a perfect location that it accommodates everything and still makes the boat drop, feel smooth and efficient when it takes off, when you shoot it. There's a lot of engineer that we can talk and go very specific, but rather than boring your clients and your audience, just let it be that they have the engineering to back it up.
Yeah, they've got it down.
They have it down, and not every company does. Just by 5 days spending on the manufacturer itself, there's nothing has impressed me as much as that, really. And that was back in 2012. Imagine now. They changed presidents. The guy who was there, Randy, he retired. And who took over? The main head engineer. Randy was an engineer. The president of the company is an engineer. And he was their main boat engineering. He's got now all kinds of engineers under his belt, supervised the whole thing, and he loves to shoot and hunt.
And that's
All
what,
of them.
and that's what drives and makes a better product.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
It is about passion, and it's the same thing with my business.
Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we've got a whole lot more, so don't go away. Catch Your Memories coming right back after this message. Segment of the show is brought to you by the great guys and gals at Petrucci Insurance, and just got done paying for my insurance for this year, my house insurance for this year.
Ouch.
And yeah, ouch is an understatement. It went up
60%.
$1,000.
Yeah.
It went up $1,000
Yeah.
from what it was last year.
Welcome to the club.
But all the other offers I got
Worse.
were worse.
Yeah. You got to have a good
They
company.
were $2,000 higher.
Yeah.
So we found the best deal for me. I'm paying more, but I'm not paying a whole lot more for the coverage. So, you know what? Guys and gals, we work way too hard to be giving our money away to somebody else.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you work hard. I know I work hard. I know our listeners out there work hard for their money.
Yeah.
And they don't want to just be wasting money. So call Petrucci Insurance and let them do a rate quote for you and save some money on your house insurance. And if they can't, if the companies that they work with can't beat your current, they'll let you know, hey, you've got a better deal. But at least you know. And if you don't call, you don't know. So 321-632-1200. That's 321-632-1200. Call Petrucci Insurance and make sure that you're not paying too much for your insurance today. That is for sure. Tino, bows are kind of like cars, kind of like shoes. Everybody's got a price point. Everybody's got a certain, performance aspect that they want to get out of their bow. Hoyt's downline bows, they're not their premier flagship bows, but they're downline bows.
Their price point very well.
Are just incredible bows in their own right.
Yes, if I didn't have another one, I'll use the Torex any day.
Yeah.
I would. And to that point, you can go and buy a bow at a big box store. You can buy one online. But at the end of the day, a compound, you will have to have it tuned.
Yeah.
So you might as well add another $175 to $200 to that bill. By the time that you buy that lesser of a bow, you'll have to bring it to a professional if you really want that bow to perform for you. You can afford a Hoyt at that point, because if you buy a Hoyt from me, for one thing, we'll tune it for you. Not only will tune it for you, we'll paper tune it for you, even if it's a Torex.
Which is extremely important.
And not every shop will do that.
Yeah.
Furthermore, as long as you don't move the rest around and you leave it where we put it, and we'll match an arrow to your poundage and your draw length. And as long as you keep that going, you can bring that bow to me once a year, and I will tune it for you for free.
Well, there you go.
It's
Which is another $100 savings.
Yeah. It's more than that, but yeah, it is a savings.
So let's talk a little bit about
The arrows,
because
yeah,
so Tino gets on to me. He's like, when are you switching to Easton? And I'm like, I'm shooting these gold tips. I've been shooting gold tips for a long time. I like my gold tips, but I'm running out of gold tips because, as you know, the more you shoot, the more possible damage you get to your arrows. And you split you run one up the back of the other one or you hit the bone inside. You hit a shoulder on a pig. You hit the rib on a deer. Damage starts to occur to the arrows, and so I'm not far from buying another set of arrows. And when I bought my gold tips, I bought 24 of them. So I've had a long time with those, and I've shot them a long time. But there's a couple of things about them that I can see that I'm missing out on performance. And one of the things is the diameter. I notice the smaller diameter smaller diameter arrows do not swerve as much I shouldn't say swerve. They're not as affected by a crosswind. My arrows being larger diameter are more affected. And then also, I don't really have a problem with penetration. I'm shooting, most of the time I'm shooting a 60 to 70 pound bow. I'm shooting a thunderhead, which once again, I may start to try a mechanical. I don't know. When you get dialed in, when your bow is shooting that arrow with that head, with those veins, and you're splitting hairs, it's hard to go away from that until you no longer have access to it. And like I said, my arrows are starting to get worn and damaged and that sort of thing. So I'm losing arrows. So it's whenever I go to buy again, even though I bought what was one of the premier lines.
Yeah, when you bought them, they were American made.
Yeah,
they're
8 or 10
no
years
longer
ago.
American made.
Now they're not, and
they're made in Mexico.
So I'm looking at the Eastons because they're American made, first of all, and second of all, they've got these micro diameters, which your wind drift on them, and B, the penetration.
Yeah, anything smaller in diameter will penetrate better and will have less wind drag. That's for sure. But you can do great with a 5 mil. You can do great with a 4. Of course, again, anything smaller in diameter will penetrate better. But a 5 millimeter, you can't beat them. And some people, they have been shooting 6 mils, and there's great 6 mils. They have 6.5. Some people think they need to have. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, for the whitetail, the pigs, even elk, I'll be using my 4 millimeter or a 5 millimeter.
Okay.
I will use either one of those. You know, I have access, as you know, to this stuff, and I consume my products.
Well, I was going to say, you get a chance to, something new comes in.
Yeah.
You
Which
grab
I brought
your,
one today.
I was going to say, you grab your bow and you walk out back and you start shooting to see, hey, why is this? How is this different? You know, what's it going to do for me? Can it improve my performance? Can my accuracy get better? You know.
Exactly. And they and the tunability of them and the spines that I need to use. Right here, I have two arrows. They happen to be 4 millimeter. Again, the same is available in a 5, and they have the exact same advantages. Other than skinnier, will penetrate better. That's just physics.
Right.
You can't get away from that. You can see this one with very small veins. I'm going to be using that on a Total Archery Challenge competition that I'm going in Georgia, because I'm not going to be using a broadhead. So I don't need to be controlling winds in the front. I just want a fast arrow, flat trajectory, and veins that are not going to hit just everything.
So these veins are they're
That's going to be for target shooting.
So
period.
they're plastic. So
Vinyl. Yeah.
Vinyl. They're half the size of a regular.
They're
vein.
a quarter of the size of this one. This happened to be at almost 3 inch. But this is a match gray. Both of these are match gray arrows. What that means is they're guaranteed to be 1,000 straightness.
Okay.
I think I shoot pretty good, but I can tell you right now that I probably cannot shoot better than this arrow can fly. That's one thing. And being match gray, even the components this year, they're different. I wish I had one outside so I can see and show you the part that goes inside the arrow itself. It actually cradles the arrow inside the half out, and it makes it to where with a 4 millimeter you can still use your broadheads.
Okay.
Any standard broadhead of a 32nd. And this will control your broadhead also better, because it's just slightly bigger. Profile is going to be just the same as your 1.75 2-inch veins, but this is an AAE vein, very well known, and it has a little bit of a helical, a little more pronounced than our arrows that we've been using with the 1.7. This happens to be the full metal jacket.
Gives you a little more spin rate.
Exactly. And this is the full metal jacket, which is an aluminum arrow with a carbon core. To me, this is, on whether on a 4 or a 5 mil, the cat's meow. No doubt. Then you can go with the same thing, 4 or 5 mil and all carbon.
Okay.
This is the four-wheel drive of the arrows. You have to hit this thing on concrete to break it.
Really?
Yeah. Or because it's not going to bend. It's carbon. It's not going to bend. Either breaks or you lose it. So it is a little less expensive. This one is so much easier to get out of the targets.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm just not going anywhere with that. And being the fact anything slicker also will aid on penetration. Now I have these ones with hit insert technology. They have the insert inside, and I actually put the tip on that. So the arrow touches directly to your point or broadhead, which also assists transferring kinetic energy. It gives you more efficient transfer of kinetic energy, and their chamfer. So you know that when you have a broadhead in there, they're 100% straight. They're not left, right. They're right on it. And that is also known. These inserts, they are CNC machine. They're not just your aluminum insert that you put on any arrow. Right. You can see on your gold tips, you have an aluminum insert.
Yes.
That's the least precise part of that arrow.
Yeah.
And absolutely, when it comes, these arrows have a lot number on them, which you can call Easton, and they'll tell you when it was manufactured, if there's any recalls on it. I don't know any arrow that'll do that.
Right.
And the same thing for all their
individually serialized.
It's serialized, all of them. Lot numbers, whether it's the carbon 5 mil or the full metal jacket, they are all.
Now in talking with your average customer comes in, he says, "Hey, I'm primarily deer hunting, but I may try for some turkey. I may try for some hogs. Do you need different arrows for different animals?" Or
the answer is no.
Okay.
And And here's what I tell everybody. Okay, you probably will change, just like your bow before you change your arrows. If you buy the correct arrow to begin with, unless you decided, okay, I'm been shooting 70 for 5 years and I think I'm going to go down to 65, the spine might be the one thing that will have to change, and therefore you will have to change arrows. Otherwise, you're not going to grow. Your length is what it is. Your arrows will remain the same, and that's why you're able to still use your arrows.
Right.
And but eventually, yeah, you're going to wear them out. At that point, we'll set you up with Easton again.
Yeah. Back to an American-made
Absolutely.
company.
I am a foreigner, and
Well,
I
were.
love American-made
Were.
products before I came to this country.
Yeah.
We used to be proud to own a Ford truck or a Chevy truck or a Caprice.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. And I still believe that that's the way it needs to stay.
Exactly. Well, guys and gals, we're going to be right back after this break, so don't go away. We got more Catch Your Memory coming at you. This segment of the show, we're going to do the Star Bright Cleaning Solution segment, and this is something that reoccurs, and it's one of those things where I'd try and tell people about this, and I know that I've talked to 2 people in the last week who said, man, I can't get these off of my particular boat. I can't get these marks off of my boat. What do I do? The Magic Sponge, gang. The Star Bright Magic Sponge, that thing right there is absolute magic. It takes all of those crazy little marks off of the boat that you can't get with a deck brush or with some of the cleaning materials. And I don't know what's in the Magic Sponge, but it is magic, and it will clean up all of those little marks that just don't seem to clean up at any other time. So check it out. That's our Star Bright Cleaning Solution segment for today's show. But, man, get you one of these. They work really good. We're going to go to the phone lines. Who we got on the line this morning? Oh, hey, Daniel's calling in this morning. Good morning, Daniel.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. Did you get that Tom yet, or are you still trying to talk with him?
Oh, no, there was no talking. He actually came. We're watching the video right now. He actually almost climbed in the blind with us. A lady that just started bow hunting. I set her up with a bow a week ago. I said, "Call me when you can hit a nickel," and she called me, and she put a heck of a shot on this dude. He stumbled and kind of wobbled. He walked out I don't see him right this second, but I think it's turkey jerky for sure.
Fantastic. All right.
Good-
Opening
good
day,
job,
and we
good
got
job.
a turkey down.
Awesome.
So,
with a bow and a girl that just started shooting the bow. How long you been shooting that bow?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Good
2
for
weeks.
her.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I don't know if you've been listening to the show this morning, but we've actually been talking a lot about bows. I've got Tino from All About Archery in this morning, and we were talking about arrow selection and types of bows and engineering that goes into them and all sorts of things like that. So we've had a really interesting show so far this morning. But you've got, Daniel has a place up in off of Maytown Road called the Gobbler's Lodge. And at the Gobbler's Lodge, you can go shoot from 20 yards, 15, 20 yards out to 90 or 100 yards on his range. He's got elks and bears, and heck, he's even got one zombie pit that you can shoot zombies if you want to off of one of the stands. But you've got a big event coming up next week, don't you, Daniel?
Yeah, we do. It's our 4th annual outdoor day. We kind of do it, kind of put it fresh in everybody's mind before they head to the beach and the barbecue. So we do it every year right when we close the range down. The range is open. We open September 1st, and then we end up shutting her down April 1st. Just obviously, it's already bugs flying around in this blind as we speak, and guys like us are thinking about archery, but the vast majority is thinking about, beaches and tiki bars.
Yep, and trolling on the edge.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother story. I made a 120-mile run one direction yesterday to come back inside to jump a sail and catch a sail. Our tuna fish, it didn't go so hot, but yeah, nonetheless, didn't see any birds, but we found one today, and that's what we were after.
Well, that's fantastic. Congratulations on that. That is
Where's he at?
Where are you hunting this morning? You up around Maytown, or you?
I'm out in Seminole County. on a little private farm. This bird he's injured. I don't know if it was from fighting or what happened. I've seen a few bobcats on camera, but this bird's injured, and you know, I knew he was a bird that, I mean, clockwork. You'll get to see the video. We'll post it in a few days, but he come off the roost. I mean, almost walked into the blind, circled the blind, and came back. I got a pine tree about, what do you say that is, 12 feet in front of us? I got a pine tree right in front of us, and that allowed her to draw. And I'm going to say she shot him at about 13 yards, but I mean, absolute pile driving. But so she's shooting a low poundage bow. Now we're talking about setup. She's only probably shooting 36 pounds, maybe not quite 40 pounds. And I put a whitetail special big Grim Reaper on it, just so if the shot was a little errant, it would do its trick. And she absolutely
precisely what I recommend.
Yeah.
Hammered him. So hopefully we'll have something to show. He kind of stumbled and fumbled and wobbled off, but that's why it was perfect time. And at 8:30, she let the shot go, and I knew I was jumping on here with you, so it was perfect. When I texted you earlier, I was like, I don't know if I could call in, because he was hung up for 30 minutes, like could have dip netted him.
Right.
That's why you
love
love
awesome, but good stuff.
That is fantastic, buddy. Well, we'll let you kind of get back to it so you can go track that bird down. I know he's probably not going to go far, that's for sure. If you shot him at that close a distance with that particular mechanical, that's a good
Grim Reaper
choice.
whitetail special is a 3-inch overall cut. That's the one thing to use in a turkey for sure.
Yep. So, real quick, how does somebody get involved with Outdoor Days?
So it is all over our social media, both Instagram and Facebook. It's 11 to 5 Saturday, April 6th. We've got a few vendors there. We have a lady that is going to cook barbecue. I believe we have a thing set up where you get a raffle ticket, and we're raffling off a hunt with me, a bow hunt with me, along with not raffling. We're doing a giveaway, and to enter it, you get a barbecue from Lady Sugar Shack, a Gobbler's Lodge shirt, and then a chance to win the giveaway hunt with me, which will be towards the tail end of the season, because we're not going to draw it till the event on the 6th. But it's open to the public. If you've never heard or seen Gobbler's Lodge, because there's a lot of stuff on the internet about us, kind of little tucked away hideaway. And we also have, like those guys, we do have a full pro shop, and we're a bear dealer, mainly bear and raven crossbows.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hopefully the weather holds up. Last 2 years, it's been a little iffy, but the ranges, the actual shooting platforms are covered. So rain or shine, we're going to get it done on the 6th, 11 to 5.
Fantastic, buddy. Well, we appreciate you putting that together. For everybody out there who's interested in coming and checking it out, and you guys are up off of Osteen Maytown Road, so on the 6th, be there.
Yeah, man. If you don't know where Gobbler's Lodge is, most everybody knows where Skip's Shoes and Boots is, and we're 6 miles east of Skip's on Maytown.
Yep, 6 miles east of Skip's Boots. There you go. All right, brother. Well, congratulations to your hunter this morning. Good job putting her on that, and you guys enjoy the spoils of that particular adventure this morning.
Turkey jerky.
Yeah, man. It was heavy. I got a young guy that was filming for me today that's a big turkey hunter, and he wasn't even on the bow or the gun, and he was more boogered up than her. She was just kind of following.
Yeah, I've been there.
He was like a little robot following instruction, and even when I said, go for it, there was probably a 7 or 8 second pause where she was focused in. So let us pray that he's over there and no pain and suffering, and we'll make some vittles out of them for sure.
Heck yeah. All right. Congratulations, brother. Thank you for the call.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Take care. That's cool. Getting a hunter out for the first time and then taking a turkey with a bow. Come on now. How much more exciting does it get than that?
Yep. And that whitetail special, like I said, it's overall 3-inch cut. It's 100 grain. So you put it in there. There's not going to be deflection of fly.
We got 2 minutes. Let's talk grain real quick.
Yeah.
85 grain, 100 grain, 125 grain. Captain Kyle Weaver, who buffalo, African buffalo hunts and wildebeest and all those big game animals, he actually shoots a 900 grain with a 250 grain broadhead in it. 900 grain arrow with a 250. That's like throwing a telephone pole, a sharpened telephone pole or something.
It's a lance, no doubt. I have one of my clients that, Jamie Nance, he is in Africa right now going for hippo, and he's also using something very, very large. He bought one of these Hoyts, and he's got Easton 5mm arrows using them, but he's got they're 250s. So his weight is north of 700, for what I understand.
Yeah.
And the broadheads are fixed. And, it's a heavy broadhead, and it's got the inserts are also heavier. So it has a lot of body mass, but the shot's not going to be a long shot. That's going to be
30 yards.
20, not even 30.
Yeah.
It's going to be more like 15 to 25 at the most.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. And yes, there's a lot of mass. Have you gone to the zoo and looked at a rhino? It's like two Volkswagens welded together.
I was gonna say, it looks like it's a double cow.
It's a no, it's a quadruple cow. Are you kidding? They're giant. You got to go through that. So that's a whole nother story. When it comes to elk, whitetail, pigs, turkey, 100% what your arrow gets tuned with, what your bow gets tuned with. The arrow that gets selected for you will do the job on all of that across North America.
Yeah. You can shoot just about anything in North America.
Do not fall for having a heavier arrow unnecessarily, because people are doing it. This is happening online. They're trying to account for a 5% of the target, which is just the bone structure. If you look at it, it is the legs, the spine. They're trying. No. Learn to shoot properly and put that arrow where it belongs, make an ethical shot, and you won't have any problem. My wife shot a 230-pound mule deer with 39.8 pounds at 35.5 yards. The broadhead was this big. It still weighed 100 grain and broke. It fractured that rib going in shadow.
Even with less than 40 pounds of draw weight.
And shooting uphill. Gravity takes a little bit of toll on that. And he lodged on the other side of the animal on the opposite rib, and he fractured that as well. He didn't break it, but he fractured, went 60 yards and piled up.
One of the things that you hear all the time, aim small, miss small.
Miss small.
Okay. My friend Dave, my best friend Dave, instilled that into me.
Yes.
You must hit the exact same spot. You must hit exactly where
you're looking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to add to that, one of the fellows that when I first started hunting, he took me under his wing and really told me a lot. And he said one thing to me. He says, I don't care where the animal is, what way the animal is standing. It does not matter to me, because if I can put an arrow through its heart, it ain't going far.
That's correct.
And he says, the perfect broadside, the perfect slightly quartering away doesn't always happen. But it doesn't mean you can't take the animal if you hit him in the heart. Don't just hit the animal to hit the animal. You must hit the heart, no matter what.
Right.
And so he said to me, if you don't feel like you can hit that animal in the heart, you don't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Whether it's a gun, whether it's a bow, do not pull it.
You're right.
Let it wait until you can, or if you don't ever, guess what? You had a great experience. You saw a great animal. Next time you'll get him.
Yeah.
But don't take a bad shot just to take the shot. Always, always, always hit the heart.
I tell people to make sure that you know where your arrow is going to exit, or at least hit to on the animal. This year, I mean, if you look at the shot on my Kansas buck, it looks awful. But if you take and look on the other side, It's
went
perfect.
It was perfect.
It didn't
Yep.
go 50 yards, and we're talking a big 250-pound buck.
Well, guys and gals, we're going to be back with the last segment of Catch a Memory right after these messages, so don't go away. Segment of the show is brought to you by Strike Zone down in Melbourne. They had the big tent sale last week. There was a big blowout. A lot of good stuff was purchased last week. Hopefully the guys and gals are out this week getting a chance to use it. Actually, got a text from Sean Scribner, Sr. He says they have already limited out on triple tail this morning. They got 4 in the boat, 4 good keepers in the boat, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sounds like the morning is starting off good. Dave Mills says, good morning from the port. We're going after the cobia and the TTs today. There was a weed line yesterday that had triple tail on it that was out by buoy 2, between buoy 2 and buoy 4, all the way up through Decan. It was a pretty darn good line, had some nice fish on it. A lot of floating debris. Anything floating, a board, a bucket, anything like that, don't overlook it.
That's right.
Kyle Weaver, as a matter of fact, Captain Kyle, was saying, he called me. He goes, hey, man, I've got a board over here. It's got 30 triple tail on it.
There you go. There you go. Oh,
so
yeah.
anything floating in the ocean right now is likely to have some fish around it. So, keep your eyes peeled for that. We pulled up on there was a Goliath grouper that was floating around the port a couple of days ago. Well, it made its way out into the bight, and it was about halfway up the bight towards the tip of the Cape, about 28 feet of water or so. And I was running around looking for triple tail, and I see the carcass is still floating, what's left of it that the sharks haven't eaten. Still, it's a 300-pound fish, so it's
gonna be a while.
They got to be a while before. Anyway, we pull up on it, and dead fish floating, dead birds floating are perfect, because once they start to break down and the oil start to release out of them, it calls the bait fish to it, it calls the crabs to it. Well, what do triple tail eat? Bait fish and crabs.
That's right.
So you pull up there. There's 2, nice fish on it. We pitch in there, hook up. Just lots of fun. Lots of fun fishing right now. The weather's perfect. It's time to definitely get out there and be there. Speaking of weather, real quick, we got to get to that, and then we're going to come back. We got a couple things we need to cover. Today we've got variable winds. It's going to be west, then north, then northeast, then southeast. It's going to be between 5 and 10, depending on the direction and the time of the day. It's going to be a little heavier in the afternoon from the southeast. But for now, you should be good. Seas inside of 20 miles are supposed to be 2 feet with a dominant period of about 9 seconds. And we have a little wind chop this morning, so it's going to be a little bit choppy, but it should lay out. The 4-mile buoy this morning was 72 degrees, 2 feet at 4 seconds. The 20-mile buoy was also 72 degrees, 3 feet at 4 seconds. And then the 6-mile buoy out of Fort Pierce was showing 74 degrees, 2 feet. Now, it was reading the swell and not the wind chop. It was reading 13 seconds. But so there's a 4-second interval on the wind chop. There's a 13-second interval on the ground swell, it looks like. Western edge of the Gulf Stream is currently 44 nautical miles due east of Ponce, 31 due east of Port Canaveral, and 26 due east of Sebastian. And the surf temps are 67 at Ponce, 72 at Canaveral, 74 at Sebastian Inlet. So when you look at Ponce being 67 and Cocoa Beach being 72, there's your sign.
Yeah.
If you're looking for cobia, there's your sign. They're between Canaveral and Ponce right now. Yeah. They're heavy. There's rays there. There's free swimmers. They're on turtles. They're on some of the structures as far as reefs and wrecks. So if you're looking for them today, between Ponce and Canaveral is where you need to be. Low tide this morning, 7:54 a.m. High this afternoon, 1:34 p.m. And low again this evening at 7:42. And then down at Sebastian, 7:36 a.m., 1:29 p.m. And the low is 8:04 p.m. again this evening. Sebastian Inlet tides are about 3 hours after the actual beach tide, so keep that in mind. 2 3/4 to 3 hours after the beach tide. And then the solar lunar tables, which are the best times to hunt and fish, presented by All About Archery. Imagine that.
Well, thank you.
The major is going to be, we had one this morning. We're going to have another one this afternoon at 6:17 to 8:17, so right there at dusk. You've got a major, but the minor is a pretty strong minor right now, and that 11:23 to 12:23 time frame, right around lunchtime, is a pretty good time to be out on the water. So hopefully you guys and gals will get out there and take advantage of all that. Tino, we were talking about the arrows, about the bows.
The release.
The release is just as important, and so I have shot my same release since day one, okay? And it's sort of a fixed it's a flexible tubing kind of a thing with a caliper on the end of it. But you have multiple types, okay?
Yeah.
The one that I really like now is the one like you brought in. It's on a strap instead of a post, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's on a strap, so it's more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
One less thing to be able to potentially mess up a shot is the torquing.
Torquing.
So this
Right.
takes all the torque out of your release, or most of it.
It could.
Yeah.
With proper instruction on how to use any release, because you also have to instruct people on how to use a release. People tend to put it on and then clench to it, where no, they need to relax that hand, let the release hang on your wrist, go forward, and let that strap hang. So you don't torque the D loop. But also, and that's one thing I love about these true balls. This is called the short and sweet, which now is called the short and sweeter. This one here that I brought is probably 25 years old, 20 years old.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm still using it. But it is a hook style.
I was going to say there's caliper style that pinch together like a pair of pliers.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's
then
okay.
And then there's this style, which is
It's a hook release.
it's just got a hook, and then it's like you holding your finger on your fishing line to make the cast, and then you move your finger out of the way to let the line go on a spinning rod.
And I can be looking at you, and I can load this up, and it's ready. Yeah. This one happens to be it's got the trigger slide back. It's S2, makes it very easy to put the crease of your finger on the trigger before it goes off, and you don't want to be using the tip of your finger. That's for your rifle, because you feel it, and you want to use your back muscles and maintain. You want to maintain full draw without overdrawing, and feel that release be a complete surprise when it goes off.
When it goes off, that's the thing. People will slap at the trigger,
bad habit,
and it creates an inaccuracy in your shot. It doesn't go exactly where you want it to.
The reason for that
you want
happen,
it to be a total surprise, like you were saying.
The reason that happens is because people tend to focus on the pin when it goes right on the target, and then the brain automatically makes that finger twitch. That's the wrong way to do it. Yeah. You have to maintain your form, let the pin move. It'll become a figure eight that'll become so small. All you got to continue that pulling till it goes off by surprise, and you will avoid target panic.
Yeah.
That's what that happened. This is the main cause of target panic. People looking at that pen, they see that pen go right to where they want to hit and smack,
and then they smack it,
and then eventually they have no control over it.
It just you've practiced a bad habit, it becomes permanent.
It becomes real hard to correct.
Yeah,
I have people that come in the shop, and I have to correct that. And my goodness,
there's so much more we could cover, but we've only got about 20 seconds left. How does somebody get a hold of you to get some better coaching and get some great gear?
Well, call us the old-fashioned way, 321-622-6820. Never mind, that's the wrong number.
All About Archery.
All About Archery, 622-6888.
And now's the time to get your bow set up or retuned.
Yeah.
Because it's off season. Or
we have more time to do it.
More time to do it.
You will be able to spend more time.
Well, guys and gals, until next week, I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you learned a lot. Thank you so much, Tino, for coming in.
You're welcome.
And until next week, do what we're going to do. Get out there and catch yourselves a memory.